Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, and the best way to start your Saturday. This is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. And now your KMA crew. The man with the scoop, William Cooper. Alex the Goat Tavella. And always telling it like it is, Honest Abe Dababneh.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. Honest Abe here, and we are broadcasting episode number 596 of KMA Talk Radio Live. And as always, I'm here with my trusted crew, the man they call the GOAT, Alex Tavella, our dear friend bringing us all the industry news, always teaser and rumor-free, William the Scoop Cooper. And joining us today is a special guest host, our favorite, none other than the lovely Miss Kim Keeney. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing today, Kim? Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yep. Post-Halloween, a little bit tired,
Oh, we should have got a picture of your costume.
What's Halloween in the sticks like?
Yeah,
you guys go somewhere, I assume, yeah?
Well, there's a couple different things. They close down a whole street. Everybody trick-or-treats down there on like your side-by-sides and everything.
Super.
And then
I just want to point out that this is a defensive answer. But go ahead.
Why? No, and then also like Westlake is close. I stole my mother's golf cart and I went around and did that.
You go visit Paul? Isn't Paul in Westlake?
No. He's in the Arden, the one off of Southern over there. Okay. Yeah. But
all right, so there's the question is, how much action is there really for Halloween out there? But it's not terrible.
An absolute ton.
Paul is where the cult is. Listen, when you're secluded, just like people in big, country, rural areas, right? They got nothing to do, so they actually all get out and do something.
I understand that, but the question is, how many of they is there really? If it
don't take a lot for a good party.
12 people get together, it's
And first off, I will say, I did win a Halloween costume the night before Halloween.
What did we do? What did we wear? What did we dress as?
Michael and I were both dressed up as tacos. We were the Taco Bell number 7, the 2 taco meal. Okay. We won that. And last night I had to match my kid. She was a minion, so we were minions as well.
Now, was that the value meal that came with the soda, or is that just the 2 tacos?
It's the value meal, but we drank the soda before we got there, so it was just the tacos were left. Yeah.
All right. Just curious how that worked. That's actually pretty creative.
It was funny.
You know what kind of people know that the number 7 at Taco Bell even exists?
I don't know if that's really the real number.
The type of people that are still leaving bars at 2 a.m. Taco Bell is the only thing left. Taco Bell's the only thing left open to put something in.
Pretty much.
It's funny you say that. I don't know if it's me personally or it's a more popular thing. But I'm really not a fast food person. I probably was, a long time ago. And, it was in our era that the meal numbers first came out, whatever. Were you a meal number order person? Like, I would never order the meal.
Never.
Really?
Never. Yeah, I kind of always.
I don't want fries. I don't want a soda. I don't think I can ever recall ever saying, give me a number 3, I never. I don't think once have ever done that.
That's the oddest. I mean, what?
I thought it'd be just me. I thought it'd be just like Coop just says he's never done it either.
I just don't understand what part of the meal are you skipping?
I'm not a fry guy mostly, so I don't get fries, or I don't get a drink. Yeah,
I know, but I don't get McDonald's either. But that's what I'm saying. When you do it. You fucking go all the way. I mean, it's none of it is a health conscious decision. I'm not going to eat the fries. Yeah. It's just I don't feel like fries at the moment or something. But no, usually I'm going McDonald's, I'm going all in. Give me the soda, give me the fucking fries, and I'll get it all the shit bag out of me at once.
So it's not just me and Coop. There's a couple people in here.
No, when I was younger, it was It was always a number. Now, as an adult, it's never a number because I only want one thing or I want two things, but they don't go in a combo together. So you have to individually order exactly what I want.
Never ordered by a number ever. Because as soon as you said that, I said, I guess I never have.
Rarely do I eat at the fast food restaurant. It's mostly take it home, so I'm not going to get a drink most of the time. And
Coop only does Taco Bell at like midnight during a broadcast when he's doing a broadcast.
I have done that. Yeah.
I know you had your son go get some one time.
Even for me, that's not even. That's the thing. It's getting eaten in the car. That's the whole reason I got it. Because if I was getting something that I'm taking home, getting something else, I can order ahead and just get it. Right. If I'm stopped, it's getting eaten in the car for a reason. So I need the drink. I want the fries, and I want whatever least messy option you have because I'm eating it in my car. So like Whopper, there's no Whoppers happening. They're not ordering Whoppers to eat in the car. Too much mess.
I really would like to meet the first guy who thought of that. It's a pretty genius thing. So much easier for ordering. Give me a number 2. Give me a number 1 instead of can I have a small fry, a large drink. I mean, one guy thought of it at one point somewhere.
But then it becomes complicated if you want to substitute something. So that's why I think it's also easier to just order what you want and let them, So if you want to substitute onion rings for fries or something like that, or you don't want ketchup on your burger,
onion rings. Fucking onion rings at McDonald's.
Burger King.
Burger King.
What is onion rings?
Everybody knows the mashed onion rings they have at Burger King. It's not even like a whole onion piece. It's like
McDonald's
onion. It's literally a tube of fucking.
I love onion paste.
And it's delicious. There's barely an onion in there.
McDonald's used to have something called onion nuggets, which were like chicken McNuggets with onion, and it was so good. It was without the chicken, but just onion. They were so good. Those onion nuggets.
Really?
Yeah.
There is one thing
I missed that
about McDonald's. I could be sitting at like Tremonti's, Mortorano's, wherever, but a fucking McDonald's apple pie, you can serve me that anywhere.
Not anymore.
Really? I haven't had it.
No. And let me just tell you something.
I mean, I'll have that after a restaurant fucking dinner, a McDonald's apple pie. You're telling me they fucked that up too?
Oh, a long time ago, a few years ago. So listen, for whatever reason, my kids and my wife, like if they had an urge or wanted to do something, McDonald's apple pie was it, and they would go to McDonald's just to get some apple pies, like at 9:00 at night or whatever it is. And all of a sudden they started complaining about how bad it was. And then there were news articles. They changed how they were using the same company like for 20 years and made the apple pies for them. And they changed it up. And then completely different. Completely different entity.
Well, that's depressing.
That's depressing. All right. Well, listen, everybody, we have a very special guest today. So we really don't want to waste any time and spend as much time with him. Broadcasting in from Vegas this morning. That's right. He had to get up very early. Everyone, please welcome dear friend to Smoke In and KMA Talk Radio, Martin Kove.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. Can you hear me and see me? Everything good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
See you.
Good.
We could hear you. So you're in Vegas. I believe you're at the Big Smoke.
Yeah, the Big Smoke, which is very interesting. I'll go today at 5:30. Got in last night and met just a whole bunch of friends who are here, and I'm here with my cigar, the Prodigal Son, and just passing them out and having a great time and discussing the elegance and nobility of smoking cigars.
Now, this is going to be your first time doing the Big Smoke?
Yeah.
Good. So when we see you next week, I can get your honest comparison because you've already experienced a great smoke. So you could let us know how you felt about the events and maybe what we could do to make ours maybe better. Maybe.
Maybe I doubt it. You're pretty good at it.
Marty, I want to get into some of your past life before we get into the cigar. Very interesting. You went to I found really amazing. I'm going to wonder if it's true. You went to a small community college where the acting was very limited, the acting department. Is it true that you went to local universities that you didn't even attend and auditioned to get roles in their plays or musicals?
Yes.
Or they were around?
Yes. I used to go to schools like in New York, Hofstra University. And I went there and I remember this specifically because I got the lead, and theatrical departments are very cliquey, so all of a sudden some outsider drops in to the audition process and then he gets the part. Everybody is up in arms, and this was,
Sure.
and it was, I think it was a Heartbreak House by George Bernard Shaw. And I got the lead. Hector Hushabye, I'll never forget it. And I go to rehearsal, and I wasn't in attendance at the university. I was at a community college, and I go to the university first day of rehearsal, and I see a big black line right through my name, And I said, "What's the matter?" And the professor of the dramatic department came up to me and said, "Mr. Kove, you must be in attendance of the university in order to be part of our productions." And I went home depressed. I think I cried. I was like 18 and I cried. And there were several other universities that I got the part and stayed with it.
They never caught you. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
It was too big of like Queens College, too big of a factory, and other places, NYU, and it's just what I wanted to do, and it was always interesting because, you were just starting out as an actor. You knew you wanted to be an actor. You knew you wanted to go to college, and it was all fascinating. I don't think until I was 20, I don't think I really took it seriously. I always knew I wanted to be an actor from the 4th grade on, always, back in Brooklyn. But I never did anything about it except community theater and, plays, in 7th, 8th, 9th grade. But that was it. And then this was the first endeavor, and I got shot down. It was the first outside endeavor.
Now, if this is true, this has got to be one of the most pivotal and coolest moments ever for you. You were a stand-in for a movie that Sean Connery was in. And supposedly you asked him for advice, whether you should expand your portfolio or, continue your schooling. Is this a true story?
True story.
And do you remember what he said to you?
Sure, of course. I got a stand-in, which is basically a glorified extra. It was 1972. It was one of my first jobs. And we became friendly, And he said to me, I said, "Do you have some advice for me?" And I was accepted to a classical repertory company at the time in the Village, in West Village. And I was accepted to NYU School of the Arts. So I didn't know which way to go. Should I continue college or should I just go out there and pound the pavement? And so I explained the dilemma to him. And he said, "Young man, if you can do Antigone, you can do anything." And he meant if you can do the classics, you can do anything. So time to forget school and go with the repertory company. And I did. It was good. And then I bumped into him later on, and we played tennis together. And it was after Cagney and Lacey, and it must have been 15 years later, we became friends. And some funny stories with Sean Connery,
Pivotal moment, right? I mean, made you basically quit school and go to acting, and you end up moving to LA after that, yeah?
Yeah. I spent some time in Lincoln Center, did a lot of theater. And then about 1974, I went to California. But, I think I did a part on Hunt for the Red October, and I bumped into him, and we talked about that. And then, there's a couple of stories I can't really tell on the air, but that we bumped into.
That's on our Patreon. We'll talk about it on our Patreon.
Yeah. And bumped into each other many times, and Cat was an icon. I mean, aside from James Bond and all, he was really terrific to be with. But, he did some wonderful movies. I mean, aside from The Untouchables, The Hill, which was a great movie that Sidney Lumet directed. And Sean Connery was a consummate actor.
Sure, absolutely.
He started as a milkman in Wales when he was 9 as a part-time milkman. And then by the time 15, he was a full-time milkman, like his father. There's great stories there, just terrific stories.
Did you feel, was there anything at the moment when you were playing the role of John Kreese in the first Karate Kid, was there anything that gave you kind of any insight? Did you ever feel how iconic that role was going to end up being in American culture, that the phrase "sweep the leg, Johnny" was going to be, talked about decades and decades after the movie? I mean, I always wonder when something like this happens in Hollywood, was there any feeling of the moment like, oh, this is going to be, do the actors in the moment know how classic or feel or have a sense of how classic this scene is going to be?
I would say no.
Right?
I think, I make a study of Westerns, and I think maybe the only movie you can actually say where these veterans knew they had a hit while shooting was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The Redford, Newman, George Roy Hill, they knew they had something special. And I've heard those stories many times. And Karate Kid, to me, I was doing Cagney and Lacey. At the time I was on hiatus. It was just another heavy. It was one-dimensional guy.
Right.
And it just worked. John Avildsen never let me smile. Here was a guy who just directed Rocky, and he was a wonderful visionary. And the character was a one-dimensional character. And I don't know where all that venom came from, because he was vindictive. And he was a villain then, but I always tell people he was a misunderstood character. He wasn't just evil. Like Terry Silver in the Cobra Kai is evil.
Yes.
So I always tell people he's misunderstood. He wasn't a villain. And when I got a chance to do the series, I said to the writers, I don't want to play this John Kreese in Cobra Kai like I did in the movies, in those first 3 films. And I said, I want him with vulnerability and an arc and colors. And I want him to be somewhat redeemed by the end of the series. And they agreed to do it. And they wrote the flashbacks and, and it turned out to be, season 6, crying in Billy's arms and, him crying with me. And then, it was a redemption I always wanted as an actor, with that inner satisfaction that you've accomplished something by taking a character from the darkest place to the light.
It had to be very cathartic. It had to be very cathartic.
Yeah, extremely so.
Man, I'm going to ask you a question because it's very interesting. Does that happen a lot for you, or in general? Like, you're playing a role and there's certain parameters within that role, right, as it was written. But do you have that a lot where you're like, man, I wish I could take this character further than the movie or the series is allowing me to? Is that something that happens a lot to you, or just in general,
Well, I remember, I think it started with Cagney and Lacey where I got those feelings. Earlier, when I did my first series, Code R, in 76, I just wanted to be Steve McQueen. I just wanted to be Steve McQueen. For 20 years of my career, I wanted to be that guy. And backstories and all of that sophisticated information that you go to as an actor, I don't think happened for me. I was too busy trying to be cool. And I think the work showed it. The work showed it was good. He was heavy. He was a tough guy. And I always worked. But I could have gone a lot further then, as I did when I got John Kreese, if I had just stopped trying to be Steve McQueen and be Marty Kove.
Gotcha.
Use Martin Kove as an instrument, not the Magnificent Seven or Thomas Crown Affair or, Enemy of the People. So I would say during Cagney and Lacey, I really saw the light of trying to take this guy into not being a wise ass, but being someone who's a romantic, and that's when it began. But if you get the time to take a role and do a backstory and figure out where this guy came from, what was his relationship with his parents, his girlfriend. If you can do all that, because it's never in the script. It's always in between the lines. You can make this guy more interesting, you know? And I've managed to do that lately with a lot of characters, because you don't really care about being Steve McQueen anymore. It's being Marty Kove, because John Kreese was not Steve McQueen. John Kreese was the modulation of the instrument all the way to the freedom of being who you are on camera, rather than trying to be really Steve McQueen and being cool, you know?
I've always wondered, I've always wondered as an actor, right? When you have a role that you've played now for a long period of time, on multiple occasions, right? I kind of have to believe, and I could be completely wrong on this, but that actor like kind of becomes a little bit of you. Do you ever find that you tap into John Kreese in your real life for a certain circumstance or anything? Does that persona ever something that now kind of filters into your real world?
Well, it did, and unfortunately, you know, it got in the way of a good relationship that I had with, you know, with someone back in the day when patience was limited. John Kreese, you know, if you didn't do it his way, take the highway, you know, and he loved Cobra Kai, but you had to do karate, you know, as mercy is for the weak. And the difference between Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai was that Cobra Kai, once you nailed someone and you got the point, you make sure he stays down. Miyagi-Do, it was just all about the point, and the tournament is over. The moment is over. And John Kreese was a very big supporter of that kind of discipline. And I found myself getting short in a relationship, losing patience, being tougher, and it needed adjustment. You carry it with you. You hear these stories about Heath Ledger, and you hear the stories about Daniel Day-Lewis, you know, being Lincoln for 6 months. I can totally identify with that. You know, when you go right into these characters, they stay with you. They just stay with you. If they're strong, frenetic entities, they will stay with you. You go for a 1 or 2 day gig, it's different.
Right.
Characters that are meaningful and you do your homework with, they stay. And you have to go 4 or 6 months away. You have to, like, you know, go take a vacation or go do another movie that's diabolically different, or go do a play, you know, because those characters were written well, they will stay with you. And if they're tough, you know, characters that are not formidably pleasant, you're going to make a lot of enemies, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that could be problematic. In your rendition of John Kreese in the Cobra Kai series, throughout the series, and it's been a long time since I watched the original movie, a cigar was integral in your character. Was that written in for you, or is that something you bought into that part?
You know, season 1, episode 10, when I come in, I had, you know, I brought, at that time I was smoking, you know, it was before Prodigal Son, and I was smoking, you know, Cubans and all that. And I brought 3 cigars, and I hated cutting up, and in movies you use cigars, and I hated cutting up my cigars because I hated cutting up the Cuban cigars into thirds for continuity purposes, because you got to have the same size.
Right.
You got to have the same size.
Right.
So the bottom line is you're cutting up a cigar to be the same size, and I hated doing that. But I brought these cigars because it was my entrance, and I knew the prop guy was going to bring me a cheap crap, you know, and he did. I got dizzy. It was these cheap cigars. So I said, I got to go to my reinforcements. So I went to my little box in the back of the dojo, cut them up, and did the scene. And where it came from, they knew I smoked cigars. They wrote that in.
Wow.
And that last line I have when I walk in and congratulate Billy for bringing Cobra Kai back to the forefront. And I have that line, and I'm smoking, and I take one puff and I go, but the real story's only just begun. And it was an iconic line that they wrote. And you can hear, after I take a puff and say the line, the other end of the dojo, all Video Village, the writers, all the cinematographer, you all hear this, oh. So like they got John Kreese to say their lines finally, because they were all massive fans from 20 years before, 30 years before. This was 35 years later that the series came on with these kids who were just big fans, the three writers, John, Josh, and Hayden. So they wanted to write what I was comfortable with. And John Kreese ended up having a cigar, because he didn't have a cigar in the movies.
Yeah, I didn't recall ever seeing one.
No.
So obviously you're a big cigar smoker. You enjoy cigars as part of your pastime. Tell us how. So for those people who are watching don't know, Prodigal Son is a graphic novel series that you created. So it's a Western kind of. Yes. And this cigar is named after that graphic novel, graphic series. How did Marty Kove formulate to make a cigar? How did that whole process birth?
Well, the graphic novel came first. The graphic novel was a 4-part comic book, and it was 4 comics, and I created the concept. And it's a terrific story, and we're just in the midst of looking for a showrunner now, our final piece of the puzzle. But it's a story of an old gunfighter who's killed everything, and he bonds with a 12-year-old boy, and they exchange human value, and he becomes a human being, the kid becomes a survivalist, and they're on a journey to get these bad guys, who the bad guys are run by my son, and in real life my son Jesse Kove, but in the story it's my son also, who's ostracized me from the gang because I was getting old and my ways were getting dated. And it's a story of maturation between a child and an adult in the West. The same kind of maturation and problems that kids have today with their parents, except back then we're doing it in 1875, and we have in common is our journey to get the bad guy. And it's just terrific. And a lot of it is like John Kreese. A lot of it is the misunderstood gunfighter who never raised his kid properly and never raised Johnny Lawrence properly, which we find out later. And I never raised my son properly. But we're on the hunt for my son's gang. And I teamed up with Don Hanfield, and he wrote a lot of the dialogue. And I wrote 4 treatments, 4 ideas. He hired someone to do the art. And I think basically Paul, my partner in this, he came up with an idea that why don't we make a cigar? And when the series comes out, it'll work hand in hand as an advertisement. But it's really because of the heart of the concept, the Prodigal Son, and to be able to talk about it openly like this. Everybody loves the cigar. Women love the cigar. My girlfriend loves the cigar. My son loves the cigar. It's a very well-made cigar, but it's really about the heritage of cinema, which I think is the Western. And this is the box, and it's very much a Western concept, even the box itself. And inside you have that, and it's really, when you buy.
In fact, I got a close-up image, Martin. Let me just show everybody. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
So
and it's really the character, you know, and it's selling big time, and it's really fascinating because it's what I've always wanted to do with my career, is do westerns. And you know, when I did Wyatt Earp with Costner, and I did The Gambler, and I did all these other westerns, they weren't my movies, you know, they weren't what Marty Kove wanted to do with the genre, because I believe the genre is the heritage of American cinema. And I believe that kids need to know more about the genre. When we all grew up, there were 35 westerns on primetime TV in the 60s. From 1921 to 1967, one of every 3 movies produced in Hollywood was a western. So it's an overexposed genre. So people like Taylor Sheridan have come in since Yellowstone and revived the genre. And I want to do it so that kids don't know about it, the 12-year-olds that don't really know about what we grew up on, the heroes, the John Wayne, the icons, you know, I want them to learn about that and become romantics. And if I could get a successful series happening that I own, that is about my values, it'll be terrific.
Marty, we got a question from one of our listeners here. Do you have a favorite Western actor?
You know,
not on the spot, but
I remember when I did Cigar Aficionado, and the question came up, as well as in Cowboys and Indians, what is my favorite 5 westerns? It was impossible to say, what's your favorite 5 westerns? I could have 5 westerns per decade, you know. Wow. My favorite western is The Wild Bunch, you know. But then again, The Searchers, Red River, you know, Gunfight at the OK Corral with Kirk Douglas, Burt Lancaster. You have Tombstone. There's so many great films like that. Magnificent Seven.
That was my first Western I ever watched.
Well, it's funny because, you know, you said it. I was going to ask, because obviously you're a huge classics guy, but I was going to ask, where does this movie like Tombstone land in with those mega classic Westerns?
Right up there, man. Tombstone, I'm involved with a prequel to Tombstone. And it's written by the same people that wrote Tombstone, but it's about Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp meeting before they go to Tombstone. And it's unbelievable. It's called Dodge. It's great stuff. And so I'm in the midst of trying to get that financed. But the bottom line is, it's right up there, Tombstone. It was written by, you know, terrific, you know, writers, and the humor is there, the vulnerability is there. You love the 2 characters, and you know, that's why it's hard to say what's your favorite Western. There's so many good ones out there, because it's a genre that is all about our history, you know, and I kind of feel that kids today don't know it, and I want to.
No, they don't. They don't.
But if you bring it to them, and you make characters that are vulnerable, characters that they care about, this 12-year-old boy learning how to be a gunfighter, in a sense, learning how to be a survivalist, and a monster like my character learning how to be a human being who's killed everything. It's a really good parallel, you know, a good story.
It's funny Vincent mentions this series. I think it was only 2 seasons long and it got canceled, but I loved that series. It was the sci-fi Western. It was actually really, really cool. Firefly.
I loved it too.
Yeah, it was a good series. I was so disappointed when it got canceled.
Which one?
Firefly.
Oh, Firefly, yeah. That was Josh Keaton's show, wasn't it?
I liked it a lot. It was a great series. Very disappointing. So how did the concept of the Prodigal Son cigar come about? Were you approached, or did you look, this is something you pursued, you wanted done?
The actual cigar, I was approached by, Paul approached me, and the Prodigal Son, Don Hanfield, who was my partner who wrote the dialogue after I wrote the 4 concepts, 4 treatments, and he was very well acquainted in the comic book world. He loved the concept. we had met at a party, and he says, let's do it as a series. And I said, sure. And I came up with the Prodigal Son name. And then, Paul said to me, Paul's a wonderful fellow from the Bronx who has a cigar factory in the Bronx. And said, let's do a cigar. And we'll call it the series.
You're referring to Paul DeSilvio from La Casa Grande, who been on our show. He's a friend of ours and a friend of KMA's. And I personally have a project or two I've been working on with Paul. So, he has a nice history. And so that's who you've been working with to create the cigar, the Prodigal Son. And it's out there now being sold, correct?
Yes. And he blended it. I helped taste it and blend it as well. And I wanted something that was smooth and rich, and it just hit it. I tried a lot of cigars, and it's a very rich, marvelous blend that even women love. My girlfriend loves it, and my son loves it. And I have different tastes than the two of them. And I sat the other night before I came here, and I finished packing, and I was on my place in Nashville. And I just sat there in a robe, telling Alexa to play different songs. Each song, I must have sat an hour just smoking the cigar by itself, alone, in the dark. And it was such an incredible experience because I'm listening to the Animals do House of the Rising Sun. I'm telling her, play We've Got to Get Out of This Place. It's my life. Two Tina Turner songs, a Tina Turner song that she wrote for Beyond Max Thunderdome, Thunderdome Beyond, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, that never was in the movie. And it's called One of the Living, and it's brilliant. So I'm asking, the box there to play different songs, and I'm just with the cigar in the dark on my patio, and I had an hour of just taking in that taste and feeling it for the entire duration of that smoke. And it was heaven. It was that moment that we get, that we feel. Smoking cigars are elegant. What people say, why do you smoke cigars? Because it's noble, because it takes you to an introspective place that cigarettes don't do, a pipe doesn't do it, but a cigar takes you into the place of when the English retire from dinner and they go into the drawing room and they have their port. That's a very exclusive feeling. And when you can do that with a cigar, you don't need to be in London, you can be in Nashville listening to Tina Turner,
Very poetically said, for sure. It does make it sound sexy.
Well said, absolutely.
Marty makes it sound very sexy.
Yeah, very true. I do a lot of cigar music and pairings, and it absolutely is a wonderful experience. And especially when you're alone and you have that, it is something special when you can do that.
Now, William is a very respected media personality in our industry. He has a platform which he does reviews and does the news. And we sent William some cigars, and he's smoking one now. Kim, I dropped the ball. I forgot to send you some, but I will get it out to you Monday morning. I'm sorry. But
Paul DeSilvio. Paul DeSilvio will send you anything.
We have him in the warehouse. I dropped the ball. It was a very crazy week with great smoke tickets going on sale next Tuesday. Coop, you were mentioning something in the green room before we started the show live about the cigar.
Listen, how Martin described the cigar is on point. This is a rich cigar. It is a cigar that will appeal to a lot of people, which is very tough to do sometimes, to make a cigar that's going to appeal, that everyone's really going to love, This cigar, the construction's excellent. The balance of the flavors are excellent. I don't care if you're a new smoker or an experienced smoker. I told Abe, I said, legitimate celebrity cigar is what I said to Abe, I know I texted you on that earlier this week as well. This is an excellent cigar. You should be really proud of this cigar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love your use of those words, balance. How many times have we heard people say, well, it tastes like blueberry crumb cake.
We sometimes get a little odd, but I try not to. Yes.
I mean, people use these adjectives to describe cigars, and I would never think of, Prodigal Son, and blueberry cheesecake. I heard a description once and read it in a magazine. Blueberry crumb cake. It has an essence of a blueberry crumb cake. And I said to myself, you smoke a cigar and you're thinking of a crumb cake. I said, some of these descriptions and the adjectives are bizarre. They're truly bizarre. Your mention of the word balance, I've not heard that used. The balance of it being Nicaragua tobacco, the balance of it being a Dominican Republic tobacco, as filler as well as on the wrapper. It took me a while. First inch was a little bitter, just for me. My son never experienced it, and neither did my girlfriend. And now, that day, night before last, when I sat alone, I didn't experience it either. It just is a wonderful cigar, and thank you for saying that. It's just so rich and so good, and I'm spoiled. If it's not good, I have been in Denver making movies and run out of cigars, and I go into a cigar shop and I say, "What are your best cigars?" And the guy, I remember, sold me 15 cigars, and he said, "You're gonna love every one of these. They're great." I smoked each one for about an inch. I hated 15 out of 50.
Oh my goodness.
That happens. Sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Now, if you're listening to this, all right, if you're anywhere in South Florida, Martin will be at our Boynton Beach headquarters next Friday night, a week from yesterday. All right, we're going to have a Prodigal Son cigar event with Martin Kove. So if you're anywhere in the area, please stop by. If you're not, the cigars are on smokein.com. And this weekend only, to all our KMA listeners and followers out there, save 15%. If you want to give this cigar a try, see if it's going to make your repertoire, use the code Prodigal15. I think we have a ticker for that, Alex. I saw you make one. There it is, Prodigal15. Use it anytime today or tomorrow. Try a 5-pack, see if you like it, get a box, run into Marty, have him sign it. Use that code, save an additional 15% off the box price today and tomorrow only. So we're very excited to have you in the store next Friday. Very pumped up. My daughter, who was a big fan and met you because she is the Cobra Kai generation, And it's really funny because they had to go back and watch Karate Kid because Cobra Kai was their first introduction.
Right. Yeah. Think about it. 16, 17-year-old kids, right? So.
Yeah, she's watching Cobra Kai and gets a story. I'm like, you need to watch Karate Kid, So I had to, make her go back and watch the Karate Kid. So she was elated that she got to meet you and do a little reel with you for social media.
You're such a good family man. When I experienced you, what was it, 8 months ago, and I bought, Life magazine comes out with these subject matters now. They had one Life magazine on Karate Kid, another one on Wild West issues, another one on the Eagles, and now they just came out with John Wayne. And I bought it because there were so many great pictures in there of family. It wasn't that I was concerned about seeing more stuff about She Wore a Yellow Ribbon and, the Expendables and all this. We were expendable, but it was all about his family, how much of a family man John Wayne was, and you're like that. You remind me of your family ties and the respect you have for your family. To me, for that weekend, you're a collector of cigars and you have all these priorities, but you always was so respectful to make sure I was introduced to your family, make sure your family was introduced to me. And, that's why I'm fascinated by guys like John Wayne, who are icons, but made time for family. And there's a lot of people now that don't do that in my business. They just, business is tougher now. So you got to focus more on business than family. And I think if you focus on family, it makes for a better filmmaker and a better actor and all that, because you become more vulnerable and much easier being more vulnerable.
Thank you for the kind words.
Anyway, so you owe me 50 cigars.
Easy, done. So yeah, and if you're coming, we're going to have, which was pretty cool. We hunted down my team acquired a Cobra Kai gi, and we actually had to put a picture of the gi on there because we were telling everybody when you spell gi out, it's just GI. So when everybody was reading the promotion, like, what's a GI? You know. But we're actually going to have Martin sign it, and we're going to give it away at the event. So if you're down there, maybe or anywhere in the area, please stop by and see us Boynton Beach next Friday, 7 p.m.
Tell them how you spell it is GHI, but I'll fix it.
Is it GHI? Well, they spelled it wrong then, because I believe they spelled GI.
They have to kill whoever that was.
They wouldn't have known what it was. GHI, GI, GBI. They still would have known.
We got to hang them. Spell G wrong, you got to hang.
Now, interesting enough, because I'm sure you probably get this you're asked this all the time. You are not only a real black belt, but in 2 different studies of karate, right?
I would say that Okinawa Te is really my style.
Okay.
When I did a movie, Steel Justice, my sensei at that time, we trained a lot, you know. And Cobra Kai, in the Karate Kid, we trained daily, separately. Pat Johnson was the referee at the end of the movie in the red shirt with the black mustache, and in the movies, and he was Chuck Norris's partner in the international scene in the 60s and 70s. So it was Chuck Norris and Pat Johnson, and he trained Miyagi separately with Ralph, trained myself separately, trained Cobra Kai separately, all to create this mystique. And we worked out 2 hours a day back in the day when we were rehearsing for the movie. And the styles change with your stunt coordinator, because if you have a stunt coordinator learn Korean, you have another one to learn Okinawa Te, you're going to have to work in the framework of what they know. So your style changes. The choreography stays the same, but the way you learn it changes, you know. And Okinawa Te was always interesting because it was about Okinawa and the farmers fighting the samurai, and they would forge farm tools into weapons to fight the samurai, because they were a very peaceful island, Okinawa, peaceful, you know, environment there. It wasn't like, you know, the warlords environment. And they had to really work at defending themselves. So Okinawa Te was the style developed by the farmer, you know.
Were you already a black belt at the time of the first Karate Kid?
No.
So that inspired you for continuing studies to get your black belt?
Yeah, that's right. And I was very much into Kendo. We were going to do a movie called The Lion of Ireland, which is a story of Brian Boru, the first king of Ireland, who unified all the tribes to fight against the Vikings. This goes back to, I guess, 1100. And we were learning with my Shion at the time, Tak Kubota, a lot of Kendo, sword fighting, katana fighting, and that was the focus. And you still needed a foundation of karate to operate under learning Kendo and swords and wagasashis and, you know, and that was my background. And then 2 months later, you know, Karate Kid happened. But I like weaponry. I actually like Kendo more because the weaponry is so romantic. You know, it's so interesting to use wagasashis, to use bows, to use, you know, archery in the form of Zen. There's something romantic about it, you know.
Our man Alex here has.
I just want to go back. I just want to go back to something we were talking about earlier, because I didn't realize you were in Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
we were talking about Tombstone. You were talking about the origin story, and I was actually going to say I felt like Tombstone touched on the origin story a little bit more, or Wyatt Earp touched on the origin of Doc Holliday a little bit more than Tombstone did. There was a couple of scenes, but is that part of being part of that gave you kind of the want to tell that origin story in its own movie?
You mean to tell the sequel?
Yeah, because I feel like Wyatt Earp movie had a little bit more of that origin in it of Doc meeting Wyatt and kind of more than Tombstone did. You know, they didn't really tell the story.
Yeah.
Did you being part of that make you say this is a story that probably needs its own space?
Well,
that prequel.
Kevin was a friend of mine, and I would go in there in the early days. And the early days of that project, Wyatt Earp, it was supposed to be 3 2-hour movies directed by Dan Gordon, who wrote The Pocketbook, who wrote the script, Wyatt Earp. And then it changed to Larry Kasdan directing a 3-hour movie. And I would sit and chat with Kevin and go by his office. And he was always trying to make the Corleone trilogy, but the Earp family. That's what he wanted. It wasn't a shoot 'em up. It wasn't a popcorn movie. Tombstone was more of that. Focused on Tombstone. The Cowboys, red sashes, the brilliant performance of Val Kilmer, and so Wyatt Earp, which initially didn't do as well in the theaters as Tombstone did, because Tombstone was more of a popcorn movie. It was just, it was different.
Yes,
Wyatt
absolutely.
Earp was ultimately the story of the Corleone family, but it was the Earp family, to tell you the story of that family from, the day of Missouri all the way to the day when he died in 1929. But the joke about Wyatt Earp was that nobody wanted to know his story. He became a technical advisor in the silent film days, and he died in 1929. And a man named Stuart Lake took all his memoirs down, and took him 10 years to write the memoirs of Wyatt Earp, who was the real thing. This cat was the real thing. He wasn't some Hollywood gunfighter. This guy did gunfight at the OK Corral. He lived the dangerous life. And by 1939, the book went out there by Stuart Lake, The Story of Wyatt Earp, and boom, everybody on the planet started making movies about this guy, and it's manifested itself all the way to 2025. 1995, I think, is when Tombstone came out, and then Wyatt Earp came out a little bit later.
Wyatt Earp, like in new perspective, Wyatt Earp reminds me of what was it called? The assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Have you guys seen that? It's really, I think it was Brad Pitt who played Jesse. Yeah, but it's not a shoot 'em up. It's a dramatic telling of it's not like you say, it's not a popcorn movie. It's long. It's probably not for a lot of people because it's dry, but it's a telling of the story. Like you said, it's not a popcorn shoot 'em up, which reminds me of Wyatt Earp in that way. Whereas Tombstone was the shoot 'em up popcorn movie. Although great, we're not saying that, but it was a different type of movie.
So I got to ask you this, because this has been a long time debate with a lot of my friends, right? I think those two movies, Wyatt Earp and Tombstone, have become intertwined. I think they become iconic just because of the comparison that a lot of people make to both of them, right? I got to ask you, Marty, who did a better Doc Holliday in your opinion? Was it? And I'm a fan of both these actors. Was it Val Kilmer or was it Dennis Quaid?
It was different.
They were different.
It was so different. He played it rough, crude, loud,
Supposedly the more accurate version of Wyatt Earp.
I would imagine so.
I mean, of Doc Holliday.
Because Val did it as an effete, And the word huckleberry, by the way, it's not huckleberry. I'm your huckleberry, it's like that. It wasn't really. Huckleberry's a pallbearer. Yes. Huckberry. He's a pallbearer.
Yeah, it's actually bearer, yes.
A bearer, of the coffin. And everybody always thought it was huckleberry. I'm your huckleberry, That's what he did, and it wasn't. It just got somehow interpreted into that through the vernacular of the film.
Wow.
But it was two different performances. Randy's rough and tough and crude, and you get Val's performance, which was brilliant, but they were good. And I asked myself that question many times, and they were both terrific. They were both really good, and just one came out before the other. But Kevin made a great, Kasdan made a great picture,
Absolutely.
Supposedly, we were talking about the black belt earlier. I heard this story, and you could let me know if this is folklore or urban legend or actually true. The iconic punch through the car window scene. Supposedly, something was wrong with the special effects, and you had to really punch through that car window.
Yeah, well, the scene is you go in the window, and it's supposed to break about an inch before your fist and shatter, so it appears that you go through. All the gunpowder in the door never went off. So I would snap and punch, and I was supposed to lunge and punch. But the guy never broke the glass. So I would hit it like this, and it didn't break. And I said, wow. And finally, I decided not to lunge. I just punched. And he swore it would happen. It would break. And it didn't break. I broke it right through the glass. And I came out, shards sticking all over my hand, And they patched me up, put new skin on. And we did it again. And the guy swore the charge would work. You put a gunpowder charge in the door, and it breaks straight up this way, shatters. It didn't again. Okay. I look at John Avildsen, and I said to John, the director, I said, John, and I'm all taped up from the first one, and I said, John, this is the hand of Martin Kove. This is not the hand of Arnold in the Terminator.
That's
I said, and he says, he looks around the whole, whole group, the cast and everything. He says, okay, that's a wrap. The next day, we shoot me coming out with the fake blood, a continuation of the scene. But it was one of those things, it just, I could have gotten really damaged. And
I bet.
It just nailed me here. But it's a true story. It's a true story. There were very few mistakes made in that movie. I mean, John Avildsen he's a really consummate filmmaker. And I just did a movie for his son, Ash Avildsen, and it was The Queen of the Ring. Wonderful story about the first, female wrestler. Brilliant movie. People should go see it. It's terrific. It's a Rocky, and he did a great job in honor of his father. And he also lives in Nashville. And, it's, these underdog films are really fascinating. They just bring out so much of the vulnerability of our characters in history. They're the best. We only see the tough side of the hero. We don't see the ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We don't see that. We just see the stunt,
Right.
And that's why John was so important to me,
I know you have a long day ahead of you. So before we let Marty go, Kim, Coop, Alex, anything you want to ask that you haven't been able to squeeze in? I know
I was able to get
a lot of questions been flying out from Marty today.
I got one. So Martin, I'm the old guy here, so I got familiarity with you from Cagney and Lacey, and it was a show that both my parents watched. My mother was in love with you, by the way, especially in that opening scene, right? But
you should bring her to the Great Smoke.
I'm gonna try. I'm working on her with cigars. But Martin, that show was almost canceled a couple of times, correct? And then there was a campaign to bring it back. Is that true? From what I remember,
it was canceled twice.
Twice, yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah.
The first actress was Meg Foster. We did 4 episodes, and it was a little dark, conceptually, and no one wanted to see 2 women as detectives. They'll watch Charlie Bronson and Clint Eastwood as detectives, as partners, but they weren't going to watch 2 women. And now it's quite appropriate to have a series like that.
Sure. It was groundbreaking.
And it was, exactly. It was groundbreaking. Yep. Then they replaced her with Sharon Gless, and we shot another 22 episodes, and they wanted to cancel us again, and at CBS did, and then there was a mail write-in to the network that people loved it. They loved that show. They loved the writing. It was current events taken from the issues of the New York Times.
Yep.
And it was great stuff. It talked about date rapes. It talked about breast cancer. It talked about all these issues that nobody talked about back in the day. You know, it was 1982 to 1988, you know, and it was great. Yeah, because you had, you know, Barney Rosenzweig, who ultimately married Sharon Gless, and he was the show creator. And I used to go in and complain I wanted more to do. And my character was Victor Isbecki, who was a chauvinist.
Yes.
But deep down inside, you know, going in, because my mother was much more dominant than my father in the family, I always felt a woman could do anything a man could do. I always felt that. And here I was, the actor, doing that series, playing a chauvinist who was constantly berating the women that they shouldn't be there. They should be at home taking care of the kids. When deep down inside, this actor felt exactly the opposite, you know? Right. So it was fascinating to be part of that show. The actors were great, no divas, and it was marvelous.
The acting was fantastic on that show. I mean, that cast and the awards that were garnered on that show, in the 80s, it racked up quite a bit.
Yeah. It was really fun, you know. And even then, back in the day, I would ride with a fellow in ride along in San Bernardino, and he was a John Wayne fan, and he used to have in his locker a Winchester. He used to keep, and he was an undercover cop, and he used to have a Winchester, and he had all these pictures of John Wayne, and I modeled my character after him, so that Victor Isbecki on Cagney Lacey took a job as a detective because it was the closest thing he could do to becoming a sheriff in the 1800s. You know, that was the whole motivation. I think that's where the backstory started, and all those questions we were talking about earlier. You know, you just create that romance between the lines, you know, with your character.
Yeah.
You know?
Excellent.
Well, Marty, listen, I really want to deeply thank you for taking your time. Martin Kove is in Las Vegas, had to be up to start at 7 a.m. Now, maybe getting up at 7 a.m. is not so bad, but when you're in Vegas, it's like double hard. So thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday. I hope you enjoy your event later today. Looking forward to seeing you next Friday night. Once again, if you're anywhere in the South Florida area, West Palm Beach, Boynton Beach area, please come by Smoke Inn Boynton Beach next Friday night, 7 p.m. You can meet Martin Kove himself and be amongst the first in the country to try his newest cigar, the Prodigal Son. And if you can't make it, and I see all the comments about the great smoke already because tickets go, holy crap. All right. Hang on one second.
You get so excited. Look at it. What's happening to you?
I knocked the whole computer system over. Holy cow.
Look how excited you get, Abe.
Jessica, if you're watching, that's an outtake right there. Oh, I just knocked everything over. My mic, my camera, my laptop.
Just have another cigar. Have another cigar and you'll be tranquil. You just calm you down.
I just want to see what the camera view looked like as it tumbled over the counter.
Fumble.
So yeah, if you're, I see the tickets go on sale Tuesday. For the first time in 20 years and for our 20th anniversary, a new vendor, La Casa Grande Cigars, our dear friend Paul DeSilvio, will have a booth at the Great Smoke featuring a cigar that he made exclusively, actually for Smoke Inn and for this Great Smoke in particular. And Martin Kove will be there with his Prodigal Son cigars. So if you don't catch him this Friday, hopefully you'll catch him in March. Once again, Marty, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week, my friend.
Yes, thank you. Nice chatting with everybody.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for part 2 of KMA Talk Radio. Stay tuned. Honest Abe here with the GOAT to tell you about Smokin's Cigar of the Month Club. Alex, tell our fans out there why our club is the best darn club out there.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you why. Because every month I personally handpick 5 premium cigars. No filler, no fluff, no fugazis. These are all premium handmade name brands that you can find in any brick and mortar store in your area. All delivered to your door for $34.95. And our average monthly retail value since the inception of our club has been almost $57. Another great feature of our Cigar of the Month Club, Alex, tell them about the ease of our Cigar of the Month Club. I'll tell you, I hate subscription services. It's always a pain to cancel them, turning them on. We've made it super simple. All you gotta do is log into your account. There's a little green button there. If it's green, you're active. You want to take a break, you're going out of town, simply hit the button and you'll deactivate your membership. Want to turn it back on? The exact same easy process. You can turn it right back on. We've made it that easy for you. Another great feature is our Double Down Club. Alex, tell them about the Double Down Club. We had so many of our members reach out to us who really enjoyed our selections every month that they wanted to know there was a way they can get 2. And we've made that very simple. With a simple check mark, you can get double this great selections every month and save $10. Does our club have perks? Of course it has perks. You want to tell them about the perks? As a member of our club, every month there's a special discount code where if you like any of the selections, we will offer them to you, so you want to come and get some more, you can get them at a special discounted rate for our Cigar of the Month Club members. And finally, expedited shipping. Tell them how fast we get the stuff out, Alex. We get the stuff out on the 28th of every month. Our membership bills on the 28th, and we get every member's package out on the 28th if it's a shipping day. 5 great reasons on what makes Smokin' Cigar of the Month Club the best club out there. Check it out. Peace. Hey, I really appreciate you doing the video with me. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you didn't let me get a word in, but whatever.
What?
Well, great. It's perfect.
Welcome back, everybody, to hour 2 of KMA Talk Radio.
Wasn't Kim on the show today?
You didn't let me finish. Kim, welcome to part 2 of KMA Talk Radio. Nice to have you.
I wasn't sure. I swore Kim was on the show today.
Listen, I was trying to be a good listener and work on my listening skills. I also have been trying to fight off a goat that has been trying to come on camera for the entire freaking show.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there was one point he was right here.
Two's a crowd, goat. All right, two's a crowd.
I've been trying not to yell flapjack the whole time.
Funny moments in transition from part 1 to part 2 of KMA Talk Radio.
Wait.
Alex had to get up and go to the bathroom. Couldn't make it.
Let me just tell you.
Clockwork.
I got to experience how people listen on like Apple Podcasts because I leave my headphones on whenever just to make sure of timing. So I got to hear the whole experience of you, whatever you did without seeing it. So however people listen on Apple Podcasts, I got the same experience without the video.
I basically was moving my hands like this, knocked my whole laptop.
I hit the top of the laptop.
Hit the bottom because it's sitting on a raised thing. So I hit the bottom. Camera goes flipping over the table. So God knows what was on the camera as it went over the table. And then I didn't have the heart to do it because I really wasn't sure how Kim would take it. But during the break, I guess Kim was adding lip gloss, looking right in the camera. I was going to stop the commercial, mid-commercial, and put her on the screen.
Kim. You know me. I don't care.
I know.
I'm sorry, Kim.
my finger was on the button, man. I was going to stop the commercial. I was going to load her up on the screen to stop the commercial, mid-commercial. And she stopped doing it before I got the balls to actually hit the button. The best part is, I wonder how long she would have kept going. Wait, I don't hear the commercial. Wait a second, am I on live? Oh, that would have been hilarious.
Well, because I don't see it on the regular, like where the broadcast is. Right. I was looking in my just like personal self view. I didn't realize. Right. I'm hoping it was muted during the commercials.
It was
okay, good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Marty Kove, interesting stories, man.
What a great guy, yeah.
Yeah, more interesting than I expected, I'll be honest.
Me too, yeah. I learned a lot with that.
I love that Sean Connery story. I could just see it. If you could do the classics, you could do anything. right? I mean, I just totally see that conversation. And
no, you know what surprised me? You know what surprised me? I guess because of the roles that I'd expected him to be more
Harder?
like a tough guy. Yeah,
Harder?
and he was like the opposite. Like, I don't want to do I want the one-dimensional tough guy to see what he really is. And I was like, okay.
I don't think any real actor enjoys a one-dimensional part, you know? And you could tell he's into the craft, right? He's not.
I don't know. I don't think Paulie Walnuts is playing anything but Paulie Walnuts in anything. You know what I mean?
But that guy got into the role because of that.
Because of the right.
He's being more himself and playing a part, right?
Correct.
Right. So that's a whole different story. Because
absolutely,
I did a few, not that I did anything, but I did a few plays and stuff in my career in school. And actually, it's funny. I just made my dad watch I, Mordecai for the first time for the scene that I was in for about 3.2 seconds. It's got to be so hard to really become someone else or something. And especially when you look at the parts he's played and who he is when you really talk to him in persona, it's really becoming somebody totally different. And I think the people who are good at acting aren't acting. They have to become that person on some level psychologically, to actually portray it well and not look like they're just acting, But those guys who get roles like Paulie Walnuts, they're just playing themselves, right? It's not, I'd love to see how him try to do a drama or, real thing. It'd be totally out of place for a guy like that.
Yeah, the one Sopranos character that I think really broke out of different roles was Edie Falco.
Edie Falco.
She was able to reinvent herself over and over again.
Well, listen, I mean, even although that's his iconic role, James Gandolfini is a real deal actor. He's a thespian.
I think had he lived, we would have seen more, like that side of him because it was beforehand, like a lot of that stuff.
Yes,
right.
Then Tony Soprano just overtook him. He just became
Edie Falco on the newest season of Mayor of Kingstown coming up.
Yes, that was what I was just saying, and she was great in Nurse Jackie too, by the way.
Yeah.
I loved that show.
HBO was very good in transitioning those actors into different. Like Edie Falco never kind of disappeared. She went from she was Oz to Soprano, Nurse Jackie. You know what I mean? And a lot of those characters HBO kind of
Oz was a good show. I loved
really good show.
Oz. Yeah.
Boardwalk Empire, same thing. He was Tony Blundetto in The Sopranos. They kind of kept it right.
Yeah, he became Nookie. Yeah, it was true. That was right after that. Yeah.
Right.
All right. It's that time in part 2 where we're going to test our musical acumen and we're going to see what the GOAT has cooked up for us today. It's time to find out. Brought to you by the fine folks over at Avo Cigars. If you could name that jam.
All righty. We switched it up this week. We're doing something a little bit different this week. So this week we have the AI cover version of one of your favorite jams. It is up to you to name that jam. Here we go. Abe, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Good times, bad times, I've had my share. When my woman left home for a brown-eyed man, but I still don't seem to care.
It's some old school shit, man.
Oh, wow.
This is the AI cover version of one of your favorite jams.
You really have to know the lyrics to get this one.
Cooper has it. You have to
I
know
have
the
this
lyrics.
one, yeah.
This is all about the lyrics. Hey, I'm going to give it to you one more time.
You have to do the lyrics. Don't let the music.
You got to transition.
So it's not a real. Okay.
It's a cover version.
It's a cover version, but don't let the
cover version.
Don't let the instrumental fool you with this.
Yes. Ready, Abe?
Yeah.
Good times, bad times, I've had my share. When my woman left home for a brown-eyed man, but I still don't seem to care.
Come on, Abe. You're gonna be mad.
You're gonna be mad, Abe.
Dude,
The name of the audience get this shit. I'm just trying to say.
One person got it in the audience.
Okay, yes.
I have no clue.
You do. Go ahead, Cooper. Go ahead.
Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin.
Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin.
Wow. You know, that's way harder than if you just read the words.
That's what because it sounds like an R&B.
Fucking music.
That's where you just got another lyric.
That's the trick.
That's
why I made it. I'm like,
genre.
I don't care. That's why I said title in the song. Don't care. It's going to be hard enough. Even just the genre is going to throw you off.
I definitely thought it was R&B or something. It was the music.
I wasn't even in the
Completely threw me
genre.
off.
I kept saying it's the
That was a
cuts.
good job, Alex. Good job. Good work on that. Yeah.
Wow, that is music fuckery in its best right
Yeah.
That is the music fucker.
now.
And you know what? It sounded pretty good as a
It sounded-
And I can't
Well, at
do it.
first I thought it was a legitimate song. I'm saying to myself, I may have heard this song, but it says I can't really ring a bell. Oh my God. All right, guys, that's a new way to do it.
AI.
AI.
Who was able to name that jam? Wow.
Well done, Cooper.
Yep.
Well done, Cooper. And then once again, brought to you by our dear friends over at Abo Cigars. Thank you very much. All right. You know, I always forget to do this. I don't know why. I'm not I see why. No, I don't know why. I can't scroll the media assets. It's like locked in position for me. I was gonna put up that footer, but I can't scroll any of the assets. It's stuck in one
Wow,
spot.
you know, I always forget that because it's so far down there. This one, I know, I forget.
Yeah, but I can't even scroll. I
can't scroll?
I can't get to it. It's
Really?
locked at the top line with the intro and the commercials, and I can't go up or down. If I try to scroll, the whole screen's moving. It's like locked.
Maybe the computer tumble might have.
When I knocked.
Yeah. Who knows what you
Who
did?
the fuck
Yeah.
knows what I did? Jesus, holy moly!
So
Kim,
interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
No,
No, I was going to say just an interesting topic. I kind of threw in the chat. You know, while we're
Oh yeah, it's the right time.
You know, and yeah, and really, it's not. It doesn't matter whether you're a hip hop fan or not. It is just shows an interesting time that for the first time since 1990, no rap songs appear in the Billboard Hot 100 Top 40.
Now I haven't seen the top 40.
Either have I.
I'm curious. I'm curious as what they're defining because, like, I have these conversations with my wife and my daughters. Right? They say, "Oh, that's not rap." How's that not rap? It sounds like rap to me. I wonder what they're defining as a rap song.
Well, even country right now has a lot of rap artists that are joining in on stuff. So is that country? Is it rap? What
I
am I
was going to
listening
say,
to?
I think that's part of the thing. Rap has kind of meshed in itself into other forms. I mean, like, so it's almost like country has kind of made the transition to like, there's like classic country and new country.
Mm-hmm.
But just a very interesting, thing to think, not one rap in a genre, whether you like it or not, that has dominated Billboard charts, has been a staple in Billboard.
I'm just curious if I saw that list, if there was any songs on there I would have considered rap.
Well, let me see. We can run through the list. Unfortunately, I don't even.
I think Coop would be the only one who would maybe know
a lot of these songs, but let's. I'm not really a new rap guy.
So one thing that's in Billboard is an interesting animal, and I'll talk about it because they've changed over the years what they do.
A lot of Taylor Swift, obviously.
I am not a fan of her, man.
So let me explain this, right? Because in like the 70s and 80s, Billboard would build the top 40 based on two concepts: sales and airplay. And a lot of times they would be trying to get radio stations, like record companies would try to get the radio stations to play stuff because the more they played it, they tracked the airplay, it went up. Then it kind of changed to just sales for a while. Then streaming happened, and streaming ended up taking this whole thing over. And what happened was the streaming songs were keeping these songs on the charts for a long time. So just recently, in the last month or two, they made a change on Billboard to basically limit the amount of times a streaming song could be on the chart. And I think that's what's affecting this right now.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it also doesn't help any genre when Taylor Swift holds 15 of the top 40.
What's happened is that would have happened in the 80s because
Right. You're not going to see somebody's entire album on the top 40. Literally every song.
Yeah. A radio station wouldn't be playing every Taylor Swift. They'd be playing 3 or 4 max.
Right.
Yeah.
It's streaming that's doing. That makes sense, actually. You're right, Cooper.
Yeah.
Right. You never see 15 songs, 10 songs of somebody's album on the Billboard.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's streaming. Right.
I mean, we were talking, Alex, obviously Pierre Robert, beloved Philadelphia DJ, died this week. He was the king of what was called album-oriented format, where he would play all the songs on an album. But that became a rarity, particularly as time went on. That it was called album-oriented rock, and he was like one of the pioneers of that.
Wait, he was a radio DJ?
This guy was a radio DJ that connected with his audience like no other. Encyclopedia of music.
A song off an album?
Yeah. In fact, they had to actually change it a bit because they got into some issues with the record companies over that. Because, you can't play the whole album, so they'd have to play what's called a rock block off the album, maybe 3 or 4 songs in a row. Because, it was infringing on copyright stuff for a while. Like, they didn't want the whole album played. So the record companies would push back.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
How many of you guys use Spotify? Anybody use Spotify?
I use it all the time.
I don't.
So do I. I'm an avid Spotify guy, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. I saw an article, and there's a little bit of an anti-Spotify sentiment going on because apparently.
First off, before you tell me the story, Spotify is what exactly? Is it music?
Spotify is like Apple Music. It's like anything else. To me, it's the best one.
It's the best one, yeah.
Streaming.
It's a music
I like
platform.
Yeah, it's a music platform. I like it because I can curate any type of playlist I want. I mean, half of the stuff we play in the lounge when I was working with was from me making playlists on Spotify and.
Yeah, we use Spotify on the Jukebox Show too.
But apparently, there's a lot of anti-Spotify.
That geek speaks up here.
Oh, no Spotify. I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay. I'm sure your vinyl.
Well, that's
great.
why
I'm sure your vinyl plays great in the car, Gary.
That's why I use other formats to get my music too. Yes. Yeah, Gary's not wrong in that.
No, I mean, but they all.
Yeah.
But Spotify apparently kind of their business model kind of came out, and Spotify really isn't interested in getting songs and artists to you that you may like or want to hear. What they're actually more interested in is giving you music based on your mood, because what they want is for you to play music sitting at your desk or doing what you're doing in the background for 8 hours at a time. It's just there. They just want you to have the music there. They're not so much interested in feeding you what you're looking to get. They want your music to turn into background music, so it's just there playing as long as possible. That's how they kind of set their algorithm. That's why if you ever look in the curated stuff, Cooper, it's always like kind of mood or genre related because they want you to just continually play. It's not based on actually finding the artist I want to find in your suggestions.
And people don't like that.
Well, people are like, I mean, I like it personally, yeah, because half the time I'm listening, it's music, I'm doing something, I'm having a cigar, but people are like, no, man, I'm trying to curate based on I'm listening. You're just trying to curate background music, basically. Anything that'll. Just
I'm a Pandora girl now. I used to be all Spotify. Now I switched over to Pandora.
That was the first one I had, and the only
Pandora
one.
Was the first one because Pandora kind of started. I was like the first. I don't know.
Yeah, like me.
Besides like Sirius XM, that it was just like stations and
you
could pick Billy Joel radio and play everything.
I like it because I'll put on an artist I like. And from listening to that station, there'll be a ton of artists I've never even heard of that I'll find out from watching that. So I'll give that artist a thumbs up. And I found a lot of music I didn't even know existed by listening to Pandora.
I use mostly Apple Music. But what I really find the most fun, because my family we all like look at each other's thing, is at the end of the year, it gives you all the facts. How many minutes
you wrap up.
The recaps. The recaps.
Yeah, who you listen to.
I always post my recap.
How many minutes you listen to this band? How many minutes you listen to this band? So they all compare their year end cap. So
Alex, have you used X, the virtual DJ on Spotify?
Yeah,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's an AI DJ that like basically curates music to your taste.
And I like that I could, if I'm not in the mood, skip past this whole genre. Let's go to the next.
Right,
genre.
You can skip past it, and it's like I said, it will also tell you stuff that you've been in your rotation as well as expose you to new stuff. So it is very
it's pretty cool.
And the explanations, it's almost like they give you. It's not they talk about some of the songs.
Yeah, it's kind of it's almost like having a little radio DJ, in your ear in between songs. No, it's pretty cool. They did do a good job with that.
Well, do they have
Spotify guy?
Do they have podcasts on there? Because on Pandora, I'm a big podcast person.
They have podcasts and audiobooks.
We put our podcasts on there now.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They have podcasts and audiobooks. Spotify.
Yep.
Now, yeah.
Yep.
See, I'm not audiobooks. I just have podcasts in a very small genre that I listen to, and that's it. So
yeah, they do a lot of podcasts that go on there. Like we were on Spotify for the longest time. We kept getting asked. We finally put it on there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
no, Spotify's becoming a heavy platform.
Yep.
All right, we got a lot of news to go over.
A lot of news.
We do. We got a lot of news.
All right, let's take a moment to find out what is going on this week in our industry. It's time for the scoop with Coop.
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
All right. We were just watching Hang Out with Mr. Cooper the other day, actually, at our house.
There you go.
Yeah. So, this week there were two big annual limited releases that came out. And these are two of the bigger ones. The first one is Davidoff has announced its Chinese Zodiac cigar, You're the Horse, which is Davidoff's probably the one that really pioneered this whole thing with the Chinese Zodiac cigar. So you could blame them, and they had a lot of success with it. This is actually the second go around for the Year of the Horse. So they're actually going through the Chinese Zodiac a second time. They have a new blend that they've incorporated into this, and they're doing 3 releases of this. The first one is a Toro Especial. It's a 6.5 by 55 Toro. That's the one you're probably going to see at the appointed merchants. So those are the stores that are authorized to carry Davidoff product. There's also a Torpedo size, which is going to go to the flagship stores, 6 by 52, and that is going to go to the stores owned by Davidoff. And then there is this Masterpiece Humidor, which is basically it's a really exclusive offering, and that's going to be a Grand Toro size, 6 by 56. Those are going to cost you a pretty penny because the humidors are not cheap. I can imagine.
It's all going to cost you a pretty penny.
Yeah, by the way, the Toro Especial will start at $65. I was able to get the pricing for that. I don't know what the flagship Torpedo is. That's going to be a lot more money. And as far as the Masterpiece Humidor, I don't have the pricing on that, but that's going to be pretty expensive as well.
So this is something that they do, which I'm not sure. I don't know. Tell me what your Coop is. Every time I hear this, I kind of get a little burn inside, right?
Humidor.
I really think as a manufacturer who's trying to build retailer relationships, servicing retailers, whose consumers, their customers, which are retailers, are selling the majority of their product. Don't you find it like insulting or improper or maybe slightly unethical, or I don't know what the word is, that when they make stuff exclusively for their retail stores?
I'm not a fan of it.
I mean, I know you're not a retailer, so maybe it's just me and my sentiment.
But I know what you're saying.
The way I want to do business, it's not something I would ethically do.
It's a little different because you're a retail store that is bringing in a third-party brand, kind of. So when you do like the Rocky Patel one, you're working with Rocky Patel. You're not a Rocky Patel owned store is the difference.
Yeah, but it's kind of like I had licensed stores, right? We had 6, 7, 8 licensed stores.
Right.
If I made a smoking exclusive, it was offered to all of them.
Sure.
It wasn't just from my retail stores. They all had the opportunity to get in and get what they wanted, of any smoking exclusive. I don't know. I just find that to be a very chintzy move. And it's petty because I guarantee you those 2 little things don't generate a lot of revenue. Since it's not, I don't think it's really fiscally great or makes a huge difference in their thing. It just seems like a little petty thing for them to do. Like if they made like $10 million a year by doing that, all right, we're going to piss off some retailers. We're going to make $10 million. They're not making shit, pennies on it. And it just seems like petty to do. I don't know. Bothers me. When I heard it, I thought I'd talk about it.
As a consumer, I totally see the point. Because if I'm going to go I want to buy this one exclusive one, I can't get it where I usually spend all my money.
And here's the other ethics side to it, right? They made me an appointed merchant. Now, becoming an appointed merchant is not, let me fill out some paperwork. It is a lot of paperwork, right?
Yes.
It's a contract. But that's not what it is. You have to invest, right?
Into the brand.
If you don't carry Davidoff and you want to become an appointed merchant, it is an investment. Not, thank God, I did mine decades ago. I don't even know what the current buy-in would be because you have to take a minimum of everything.
Yeah, right.
It's called the schedule of goods, right? So, I mean, so not only are you asking these appointed merchants to support your brand, sell your brand, you're making them financially commit, and then you want to tell them, well, yeah, we know you're an appointed merchant, but you're not going to get this. You know, I think it's a little fucked up.
I got to be fair, and I got to two things. In fairness, Vince, there's like Davidoff, and then there's everybody else. And
yeah, that's what I think. They created this
over Zodiac cigars. Yeah, everybody else is not. There's Davidoff's, and there's Davidoff's is expected. It always was. Also, because Smokin' doesn't sell anything to other retailers, right? Manufacturers sell to everyone except this little piece we want to sell for ourselves. Smokin' doesn't sell anything to other retailers, so there's nothing to share with them.
I gave him the perfect example in a Smokin' universe. That's like me having 8 stores who carry my name, they're licensees. I make a Smokin' exclusive that says,
but the licensees can't have.
But I don't give it to my licensees.
But they could have the Robusto size. We made a Robusto size too, and they could just have the Robusto, but we have the Robusto and Toro at
right. Yeah, we didn't do that. So that would be the relative comparison.
Right. That's exactly perfect comparison. All right, Cooper. What else you got?
The other annual release. This one's been every year since 2011. Fine and Rare was announced by Alec Bradley Forge this week. Big
box
couple.
Change.
What?
Big I have a big problem with the box. Cooper.
Big change. A couple big changes. The box change is one, and the prices too.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, come on, Cooper.
The price actually is $19.99.
Yes,
down from $26.99.
Yes.
Oh, my mic switched. I'm tapping my mic off.
No, bro, we are sure.
My whole
it made for great content.
Bro, you don't see me tapping my mic.
I
did. Why did you tell me the first time?
I didn't realize you didn't know. Sometimes
I'm going like this.
Wait, what's the price change, Cooper?
So last year's was $26.99. This year it's $19.99. That's a $7 decrease.
Okay, I can justify. I can justify the box. Is it going to hurt perception?
That's what I wondered. Now, I've had a couple of those old boxes. They really aren't humidors or anything. They look nice, right?
No, they're just.
But they weren't retail shelf friendly at all.
No, not at all.
They weren't packaging friendly. They were nothing friendly.
They were beautiful. I have them. They're just sitting on. They're sitting in a closet right now.
They're just big, beautiful boxes.
Yeah,
but still, once you start there, it creates a image.
It does create an image. I'm not saying the packaging looks bad or anything. They made a change.
No.
It's more retail friendly. The cigar, obviously we'll see what the cigar's like. But yeah, this was a big change for them this year because I don't think Fine and Rare has been under $20 in quite a while. I mean, I think you got to go back about 10 years before it was
right. When that was where the price.
Still 10 tobaccos that they're using in them, like they always do. So mostly Honduran and Nicaraguan.
Interesting. We shall see. What else?
Can you still hear me now?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
I switched the mic on.
Yep. In the world of STG, there's a new Cohiba or a Cohiba that's returning, the Cohiba C8 2025. This is probably the most ultra premium Cohiba they've come out with.
Holy shit!
This came out.
That's cool.
It is cool.
That's cool.
It is cool. This came out about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and it's a $250 cigar.
What?
Yep, this is a $250 cigar made by the General Cigar Factory in the Dominican Republic.
What?
Yep. The cigars have they're actually in these tubes, like if you lift up with that top, it has the tube standing up in there. And this one's gonna run you a solid $250 a cigar. If you want the whole box, it's $39.99. That's $3,999. When the C8 came out a few years ago, the retailers in Charlotte moved it.
Did the lid float like that on its own?
That would be pretty cool.
Oh my God.
For $4,000, I would hope so.
Yeah. Yep. So this is a big one, but these sold in Charlotte very well the last time around. So they brought it back. It's a different blend this time. And
how many cigars are in that box? 10? No.
There
20.
are, I want to say 16. Yeah, there are 16.
Yeah, okay.
It is impressive
Man.
packaging. You can't deny that. I don't know how good the cigar is, so we shall see.
I was really impressive with their last Spectre packaging, the like beehive honeycomb thing, the beehive thing. It kind of looked pretty cool.
When you see it in person, I remember we were playing the video, but when you see that in person, how impressive it is. Yeah. Absolutely not retailer shelf friendly, but
the only thing that I was a little, because it looks very hard and metallic, and it's not. It's like wood. It's sliding wood, right? It's
yeah.
It's more lightweight than I expected it to be.
Then it looks. Me too. Right.
Video wise, but still impressive.
Yeah.
Still impressive.
Yep. So that should be hitting the stores in November this month.
I think that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Wow.
Well, I think so too, and I think Cohiba. Cohiba has been the brand that's gone up in price a lot on Habanos. That was when the Rubicon came out. That's what was a little surprising that they went the opposite way and created one under $10 Cohiba, right? Which is from everything I've seen, it's done very well, that cigar. So I don't know how many of those people will buy this cigar, but I don't think it's the same audience they're going for.
Of course.
Yep.
Well, what else?
All right. Rafael Nodal has a new cigar coming out of Aging Room. This is called the Blue Amber. And this is his most premium Aging Room to date. It is going to come in 4 sizes. It's going to be priced between $40 and $43. And this gets the name from a gemstone that's found in the mountains of the Dominican Republic in an area called Las Cumbres. So that's where they got the Blue Ember name from. And they're using tobacco from that region in the blend. It's being made by AJ Fernandez. And these boxes are actually humidors. And like I said, it is the most prestigious Aging Room to come out to date. They're also doing a watch. A blue.
What is it with them and their watches?
Well, Altonus has been doing watches with the Monte Cristos and stuff for a while, but
this is one with their 60th.
Yeah, but this one, and it has basically a blue amber stone dial on
Alex,
it.
we started a trend.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Now it's actually kind of cool though. I'm familiar with this brand. They use actual stones on their dials. Yeah, so it'll be an amber stone, right? So the dials.
Oh, that's cool.
Amber.
Yeah, that will run you $1,000. And it's limited to 225 pieces.
I really think the industry now has just completely become desensitized to pricing. Like, I mean, look, everybody, the average consumer who's semi-literate of how the cigar industry operates knows where the threshold of any cigar should sell retail-wise, right? Outside of some ornate other outside circumstances, there's a cap to it. And, my mentor went down for one of his historic thing. Like I think he said, when cigars sell more than $5 or $10, that'll be the end of the cigar industry, right? Sal Fontana, it was some absurd low number, but that's how those manufacturers thought back then. They're very price sensitive, I think now they're just slapping prices up no matter what. Just desensitized. But everybody has to have a $50. Everybody has to have $100. Everybody has to, do it. I think it's interesting. I just find it very interesting. And the best part is stuff keeps selling. If it didn't keep selling, they wouldn't keep making it.
Yeah.
I will say though, in fairness to that, that's you have to listen. There's some people that's that range that they're looking for, but you have to also give credit to the guys like McAuliffe who are going back to the $8-9 sphere and say, hey, there's this stuff on this side. Why can't we make quality on this side as well?
I agree. What else you got, Coop?
All right. Turning to Hoya de Nicaragua. Hoya de Nicaragua has a new release. It's called the Cuatro Cinco Secret Cask. So the story with this cigar is Cuatro Cinco originally came out in 2013 as a limited edition. It was a Nicaraguan Puro, and they did it for their 45th anniversary. A couple of years later, they launched Cuatro Cinco as a full-time line, and they kind of changed the blend with that. But at the time they did the 2013 limited release, they put some tobaccos away in something what they called a secret cask, and they saved it for another day. And now they are bringing back that original blend with the tobaccos that have been aging since 2013. in a new limited edition blend, which is the Secret Cask. It's coming in a 6x54 box press Vitola. It's the same blend, which was actually an original Nicaraguan Puro. This one's going to be not priced too bad, relatively speaking, that we would talk about today. This is $18.95 per cigar. So I will see how this one does, is what I'll say.
I'm going to start a new trend in the cigar industry, right? Every time someone says that cigar, you got to go, Cuatro Cinco.
Oh, don't even start. Do not even start with that. No.
I don't know what that,
Anyone?
what is it?
Jim got it right
He's
away.
doing 6'7". 6'7". If oh my gosh, no. Please, no. I'm
It's
dying
so
with it.
stupid.
It's so annoying. It's
I
so
don't know.
annoying.
My kids do it. I want to smack them in the face.
No, I had a golf cart with 7 middle schoolers on it last night. They kept screaming. I said, anybody says that number one more time, you're kicked off. You're walking the rest of the night. So annoying.
We're not going to go with Cuatro Cinco. No. Okay.
I disapprove.
That was well done.
Yep.
All right, Cooper, you got one more, right?
Got one more. So
A good one.
not everything's expensive this week that got released, right? This is an exciting release, I think, if you're a Tatuaje fan. Tatuaje announced the Serie P Honduras. So Serie P is the line under Tatuaje that is the Cuban sandwich line. Now, this is one that's coming out of the Honduras factory, and it's coming out of Honduras, and it is going to also use Honduran tobacco in that. The pricing under this is going to go from $425 to $475 a cigar, so it is going to be a lot less expensive as far as that goes. It's coming in the same sizes as the original Serie P, but they're also adding a short Toro size, 5.5 by 52, which is also being added to the original Serie P. So not everything is basically going to price you out of the water here, but it's Pete's first foray with Honduran tobacco out of the Honduran factory that my father Cigars has. So I think this is something to really look forward to.
That's an interesting one. Absolutely.
Yeah, Pete told me that he didn't want to do a full premium line out of my father this year because, my father had their release with the blue, and he didn't want to really step on that. So he opted to kind of go this route, but there is going to be more premium lines he's going to have out of that Honduran factory.
Nice. That's exciting.
Good stuff. For more information and up-to-date news, please visit our friend's site at cigar-coop.com. That being said, I don't even know what number week we are on Tail of the Tape. This could be our second season ever.
7. We're up to the number 4 pick.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's time to find out what our number 4 pick in top 10 in this season's Tail of the Tape. Let's run it, Alex.
Psych.
But before we get into it, Kim, any TV shows that you can recall that you love their theme song to the TV shows? Any favorites that come off the top of your head?
Honestly, the very first one that came to my head is embarrassing, so I'll say nothing.
No, that's when you guys sing it.
It's not even good. It's not even an old show, and I know there's old theme songs I love. It's
all right, Kim. Just give it.
I have
to
nothing.
It's too late. You
give it to us. No, not too late.
Listen, I gotta get a haircut at 12. You're not getting out of the show without giving it to us, so you might as well just give it to us.
It's a cartoon, Rugrats, best theme song that there is on television.
There you go.
I don't have a problem with Rugrats.
That's a better pick than anything Paul DeGracco would have.
Yeah, right. Imagine how hard this would have been for Paul because we'd have banned Disney theme songs.
Oh well, he's out.
All right, I'll go first because I believe it's been so many weeks. I believe one or both of you may have picked this already, but definitely one of a great feel-good song was on CBS from 1974 to 1979. My number 4 pick is "Good Times."
Good time.
Great song.
Great song. Pick me up. Yeah. Who didn't get up and start, good times? Yeah, everybody did. So it was a good song.
Yeah,
One of my
listen, man, we're in the top 4. It's going to be heavy hitters. I'll double back because mine is kind of the same type of thing, man. Who didn't get up, start jamming when Moving On Up came on? It's the Jeffersons. We're jamming. Top 4, man.
Sung by Walona from Good Times.
How you like that?
Jenny,
wait. I did not know that.
Yes. Sung by Janae Dubois, who played
Janae
Walona on Good
Dubois.
Times. She sung that song. Moving On Up. Yep.
That.
Wow.
Was that for a little back-to-back?
Yeah.
Did you know that, Alex?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
You can Google
I knew Janae Dubois was singing and whatnot, but I did not know that.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. That's a good connection. Yeah.
Koopa.
Well, this may seem a little low on maybe some lists, but I'm going with the Sopranos theme song, Woke Up This Morning by Alabama 3. Yeah. I think it's a great song. And that show always exposed you to some new music, but they use that as the theme song. And I know some of the iconic backdrops of New Jersey and New York are in there, but I think that song is awesome. And it's just so... It gets you into the show. It does.
It does.
It gets you into the show. You can't wait for the episode to start when that happens, especially you pulled up
for the show.
Yeah, it's just if you watch, obviously, if you watch the opening sequence, it's Tony driving in the car, but you feel that even if you listen to the song without watching that opening sequence. I think it does a really good job with that.
Classic quote.
No, I agree. Solid, Cooper. Solid pick.
First time ever.
I find it interesting. I can't wait to see what our last 3 picks are because, we all talked about how hard of a category this was when we started, right? So if you look down at the bottom, we're pretty spread out, right? And just looking at your picks this week and what I got left, I think you're going to see us. It'll be interesting to see with all this diversity that we can choose from, if really our top 3 and 4. We're going to be sharing a lot of the same shows. It'll be interesting.
The only problem maybe is I know you didn't go instrumentals. So that's where it could be a little tricky.
I did not do instrumental only.
That could be where it's a little tricky. I'm wondering, and I don't know if Alex is going to have anything in my top 3. So that's going to be interesting to see.
Well, all your top 3 instrumentals?
No.
Okay.
No, they're not. They're not. 2 of them are not.
I had instrumentals that that would have been considered like Game of Thrones, MASH, Dallas, Chips, Taxi, Rock. I had a lot of instrumentals. Miami Vice. Yeah. There was tons of them, but I had to narrow down my list. Sanford and Son, Hawaii 5-0, all instrumentals that I considered, but I had to remove my list.
Yeah, 3 left. This should be interesting.
Yep.
So, Kimmy, as we talked about all these other shows, did anything else, any of these shows, our list, did you like anything come up, ring a bell, nothing? Still going
honestly,
with...
All I can think of is like CSI, like the most random. All of them in my brain are instrumental. I don't know why I can't think of anything.
Well, you were allowed to pick instrumentals. I just narrowed my own topic down because it was too hard. This was a real interesting category. Very interesting.
Can you do something this week, Abe? And only you can do it. Only you can get to do it. Can we do a little like Dropbox spring cleaning? I can't find a fucking thing in this place anymore, man. I know it's an undertaking, man, but
the sad part is I've already done it twice. They just
I know it's
I've done it. I told them this is how we're gonna keep it moving forward, and I look 3 months later, it's fucking shambles. Fucking shambles. And the worst part is the guy who really is the most disorganized. I gave him his own personalized Dropbox. I said, you keep all your shit in here. We don't want to see it. And when we want something, you're just going to put it in that. Still, can mess up any Dropbox. Yeah, no, I might not be able to get to that one, Alex. I do a lot for you. But I know
it was a tall ask.
That one I might not be able to get for you. I am sorry. That's all right. In our typical closing of our KMA episode, it's time to find out, sponsored by our fine friends over at Drew Estate. Would you rather?
What is going on is DJ Eli, your official Drew.
¿Qué pasó?
That was my bad. I got too worried. I got too worried about the banner. Now you're moving shit. What happened? What did you do? What are you doing?
Did I? Sorry. Stop. Go back. Sorry about that.
That's what I was.
My thing is on lock. I can't.
I
thought maybe if I clicked off it and came back, it would unlock. But I didn't realize I was changing it for you too.
All right, here we go. Back to Eli.
What is going on? Is DJ Eli, your official Drew Estate Cigar DJ, aka the cigar smoking DJ, and I have some would you rather questions for you. Would you rather listen to 80s hair bands?
God, I fucked this. Hold on, it's here. I have it. My bad. Oh, damn, it's in here. It's on the bottom. Sorry.
Would you rather listen to your music on vinyl or streaming?
Talked about this today.
I know. It's perfectly fitting.
Yeah.
This is Gary Brooks' time to shine. Where are you, Gary? Here you go.
Here's the problem. It's vinyl, but vinyl's eventually going to wear. So, first few times, but eventually vinyl wears, and it's not going to be the same quality.
I mean, I don't know. It's not that important to me. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm missing. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
because I know everybody that says when you listen on viral, but I just don't know what I'm missing enough to.
There's purists in everything, right? Purist cigar smokers will only smoke a cigar that's been aged, at least 3 months after they bought it, blah, blah, blah. There's purists in everything. And I think for you to be, and obviously that song came from a DJ this is going to be a purist thing for him, to be that, sound is so much better on vinyl or this. That's not my universe. I'm like Alex. I mean, the only thing that would narrow it down is,
and I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah, I don't see it, but my ear ain't picking it up. Like people who drink wine. I'm novice. I ain't picking up what everybody else is picking up. But I just think out of practicality is I could stream anywhere I want, anytime I want, from 8,000 million gajillion devices. What am I going to do with a vinyl other than sit at home, relax, and enjoy it? So, for me, I don't think I can't pick up the difference.
I just listen to all my music when I'm working, driving, at the gym, doing stuff. I can't imagine having to bring the whole freaking vinyl and put it in the passenger seat every time I want to listen to music.
Well, I think you're referring mostly to sound, right?
I know, but practicality is the issue.
Do you feel there's a sound? Does any one of you guys feel that it sounds different when you listen to streaming and live? And
yes,
I'm
on a technical level, on a scientific technical level, which one is supposed to be better quality? I would assume it'd be streaming.
See, the problem is when you stream, there's transmission that has to happen, and you're going to lose something. You're actually a digital format will be really good, but when you stream it, you're losing something with that.
Okay, so when you say a digital format, like if you download it and play it, that's like the best quality sound you can get.
It's a better quality provided you have that available to you. And
download
Spotify's not going to, Like when I used to rip CDs.
Isn't all the music in your Apple iTunes or whatever? Isn't it all downloaded music?
No,
it's not streaming.
No, I mean when I would.
No, you have a library. You could choose to download it in your library.
It's still not going to be the same quality as like ripping. If you took a CD or a vinyl and rip it with really good quality, that's going to be much better than streaming it.
Compression.
And Vincent's right. Compression causes loss.
All right,
right.
To any of our tech geeks out there, what is the purest way, best way to listen to music? Is it a CD, a laser CD from 20 years ago?
The best way to listen to music.
Not all the CDs were digital. That was the people didn't realize.
Okay, a digitally remastered CD from 20 years ago. Is that the best we got to really listen to what you would consider the best quality of music?
Like I said, I think when you get that vinyl piece and play it for the first time, it's really, really good quality.
Yeah, see, now you're getting the geek out, and now we have no clue what the fuck he's talking about.
I don't even know what lossless is.
I don't even know what SAC is.
For most people, it's fine streaming. For most people, look, people listen to their FM radio and AM radio for years. The streaming stuff's still better than what you were going to get on an AM or FM radio. So, like I said, for most people, it's fine. I mean, if you're really a geek like some of us are, you're probably not the best format. Yeah.
Well, that was this week's episode of
One,
Would You Rather, brought to you by the fine folks over at Drew Estate. Once again, everyone, thank you for taking.
Did you let them know already? Drew Estate, just stick to Eli. Just stick to Eli.
I wasn't going to say it live on the air, but I
said it live on the air last time. The first time we played it.
Well, I didn't say stick to Eli, but
I'm just saying Eli's
really good at it.
But
Ernie liked that concept of maybe going even outside of direct Drew Estate and getting other people to do it.
That's
so
fine.
yeah, I did have a talk with
Well,
him.
at least tell him, listen, Eli gets it. This is what we're looking for. It doesn't have to be music, but Eli gets it.
Absolutely. Kim, thank you for joining us for half the show today. Yeah. We deeply appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And everyone out there, thank you. Thank you for joining us this Saturday, spending your time having a cigar with us. And we'll be back next week to do it again. Run that code one more time. Prodigal Son, Marty Kove Cigars, today and tomorrow only. We just released it yesterday on smokin.com. If you want to try Marty Kove's newest cigar, Prodigal Son, use the code Prodigal15.
15.
Yeah, Prodigal15 today and tomorrow, and you'll save an additional 15% off the cigars. So until next week, everybody, keep it lit.